What's, what's up, everybody? I want to thank you so much for being here. Appreciate each and every one of you. We are live and we are ready to take your questions. My name is Steve. I am the co-CEO of Team Liquid, and I am not alone. Introducing Victor and Claire, as well as
Hey,
as well as Bwipo and CoreJJ.
Hello there.
hello.
So first, we've got a bunch of questions about the LCS team, which is why we have both Core and Bwipo here to help. If you have a question, please drop it in the Twitch chat. Just type it in there. It'll be super easy. If you're not on Twitch, then just pop it into the Team Liquid Discord. We'll be reading those throughout the show. The reason why we're here is to answer your questions, to be transparent, to share information. This is the first town hall type of event that we've done, and we want to make it really great, and that requires your participation. So please send them over. So kicking this off with a question from Gungi, Maine, which is, what was the mindset and the goal behind the 2022 offseason for League of Legends, and how did that mindset affect this offseason in particular? I think when we were thinking about building the roster for next year, we kept some kind of pillars that are important to Team Liquid in mind. One of those is winning. Winning is important to us, and there needs to be a will to win. And I think a lot of organizations may say that, but we do that and say that. And I think we've developed a reputation within the industry, a promise to the players that compete underneath this roster that we will do everything to win. And that is true. And sometimes that means that the roster does change. At the same time, we also give a lot of consideration to the wants and needs of players that join this organization. And that also means if they want to have a career somewhere else, they want to retain in a certain region, something happens in their life, we want to be accommodating to that, irrespective of contract, but just doing the right thing, because that's what we do here at Team Liquid. And so we kind of balance those two things when we go into next year. When thinking about building the roster, it kind of starts right after our competition at Worlds. And we think about, what does it take to be unstoppable? We know that we're going to be running into issues. I think it's naive to think that we won't. It's how you overcome those challenges in order to succeed. And so then you think about talent, you think about skill, you think about synergy, communication, and you start to put together a list of potential players. And, you know, with Core as core to the roster, you know, Core has just brought such an immense amount of value to being a player here in North America. He's earned a reputation to help build this scene, and he's demonstrated excellence to the degree of winning a world championship, by the way. And I think he is really an essential ingredient that serves as glue in forming our roster. And as we spoke with players, it was very clear that we could build something really special this year. And as we got further along, and all of the stakeholders that were required in order to make this happen, our investors, our management team, our content teams, our players, management, we all just came together and we said, let's freaking win. So that's what we built, and that was the kind of mindset going into the off season. So next question. This is from Archaic on Discord. Hey, what's up? Do you think that your new LoL roster has the best chance at winning Worlds that Team Liquid has ever had? I think every year we go into each season with a mindset that this is the best roster that we've been able to build, and that we're going to give it our best shot to win at Worlds. I think definitely there are some years where the probability of that happening is less, even given all the effort that we put into the roster. I would say this past year was the first time being at Worlds where I thought we could do it. You go to Worlds, you start scrimming other teams, and sometime in previous, you lose a lot. And you say, hey, the probability of us making it to groups or making it to quarters or finals is pretty low based on scrim results. But this particular past year, scrims were great. Mindset was awesome. And I actually thought there was a real chance. And thinking about that and thinking about this roster and even listening to some of the comms and the games that Core has been hosting, there's just such a groundswell of confidence that this is going to be a good year. So, yeah, I think the chances are pretty good. But I'd love, their perspective as well. Are we allowed to go back? And is that okay? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, cool. So what do you guys think about chances of winning Worlds this year?
Well, he's won World. I got close, but he's actually won. So I think hearing him out first makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Ever since I joined the Team Liquid, even before I joined Team Liquid was the team that can win NA. And then when I joined the Team Liquid, Team Liquid want me to help Team Liquid to win the world. That's why I'm here. And I'm really appreciate that every year. I don't feel like there was no single year that our roster got worse. Our team got stronger and stronger every year. I'm sure this year too. And as much Team Liquid, help us to win the world. It's our time to show them that we can do.
Well said.
Nice. My perspective is pretty simple. For me, I've always started low. So I've always believed in the idea that when you come in January, you're starting anew. I noticed this the most when I had, you go to World Finals and then all of a sudden you're playing the regular split. And back then in the LEC, joining the LCS now, but that's kind of how it is, right? It doesn't matter where you started or what your years in the past are. What matters are what you're gonna how you're gonna show up. Started the split, playoffs. So I always, when people ask me, "Are you gonna win Worlds? How do you feel about Worlds?" Like, I'll tell you when I get there, because in the end, it's the road there that'll determine how confident you are in being there, and it's every single day you spend that's going to build that confidence. It's going to build that team that makes you feel like, all right, we can win Worlds. Mm-hmm. And that's something that, from my very first year in Fnatic, is something that I really felt and I missed. Is like that whole year I was building with the team, something that when summer ended, I could say with confidence, like, we're coming to win Worlds. And I want to do the same thing here in Team Liquid. From start of spring to summer, all the way to Worlds. I want to build something that'll make me go like, yeah, we're going to win. Like, this is the reason why we're going. We're not leaving, well, it's in America this time around, but we'll be enjoying ourselves at Worlds with the purpose and intent of winning. And that's something that I want to build together with the whole of Team Liquid. And it's one of the reasons why I came to NA, because I feel like the infrastructure really allows me to have influence outside of the team that will come back into the team. And Academy is something that's super interesting to me for this reason, is all the information that goes around comes around. Nothing is wasted because there's just more people involved.
Yeah, that's great. I really hear you in that confidence is earned. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to develop it. Cool. So next question on Discord from Reddit. For the LoL team, what world skins do you guys want to get? Oh, this is for you guys. What world skins do you want to get?
I do really want to make a rare skin.
Oh,
I really like rare at first, and then it sounds really cool to make a like horse rare with a like blue color. It must be perfect, right?
Team Liquid Rare. That's
Team
really
Liquid
good.
Rare.
Yeah, that's nice. I'm a bit sentimental like that. I will decide based on what I felt like was the most impactful champion in my Worlds run. So that's how I like to do my things. Like when I was thinking about it, when I got close, it was like, okay, what was the most impactful champion for me, rather than my favorite? Because for me, it doesn't really make sense to pick your favorite. That's how I look at it. It's like I want to commemorate the Worlds run with a skin, and that would have to be the most influential pick for me. Which, you know, God knows what'll be my most influential pick at Worlds.
You'll see. Depends on the meta.
Exactly.
Cool. So next question. This is on Discord. Can you speak on why Jensen can't find a team? For this, I think it's important to actually. I'll just share exactly what it is. One, Jensen is an incredible player. He is insane. He's consistent. And this past year, he worked so incredibly hard going to Worlds. I mean, he put in, I think, the most solo queue of any player on the team. And when we got to Worlds, he was laser focused and he was playing insane. And then during playoffs, he was like killing it. He was crushing it. He's such a good athlete and player. And I've really seen him develop. And I think I'm also just so appreciative of the success that we've been able to accomplish with Jensen. You know, it was kind of funny. I remember when Doublelift did a tweet when Jensen was still on Cloud9 saying, where's Jensen's trophy case? I think there's like a place on Reddit and it was empty. Well, we filled that, you know, and put some things in there, which is really great. You know, I think it was a very difficult decision on having Bjergsen be our starter for the roster. And just in the TL way, we want to make sure that we provide every opportunity for a player to go and do what they want to do. We'll never hold a player in contract prison, so to speak. So, you know, it's a marrying of what teams does he want to go to. My guess is he doesn't, I don't want to speak for him, but he probably doesn't want to go to Golden Guardians, right? Doesn't want to go to any kind of bottom tier team or organization. He has a limited group. Then you have to marry that with the organizations that want to sign him. And I think something that was really interesting that happened this year, and this is the first year that it's ever happened, is that the top echelon group of teams in the LCS changed a bit of their strategy. And you've seen this. Like, it wasn't just signing kind of all-star top tier rosters. You're seeing a lot more rookies, NA talent, undiscovered talent, international talent that are still rookies coming to the region. They're being signed. So there's more risk being taken by the top organizations, and that's across the board. Like Jizuke has also not been able to find a team. So, you know, I know that Jensen will be successful in what he decides to do, and that's up to him. And we've done as an organization everything that we can to have him go where he wants to go. Next question. Core and Bwipo are both known to be big IGLS. What do you think the comms dynamic will be like this? Oh, in-game leaders.
In-game
Sorry,
leaders.
It took me a second. What do you think the comms dynamic will be like this with two in-game leaders?
I mean, I can start for this one. I think it'll come with experience together playing. For me, I've always seen myself as someone that I'm not the bus driver, but I make sure the bus goes in the right direction. So even though people look at me like I'm the in-game leader, it's like I make sure that whoever is leading has all the options and all the information they need. And then if I don't feel like they're making any decisive calls, which can happen, you know, sometimes you don't see it in the game, I'll redirect and I'll try to help them by making my own calls. Now I like to pull the trigger on certain plays that I believe are individual. You know, sometimes when there's a TP play, you have to see it yourself and you have to go for it yourself. And I think that's something that I like to do. But in general, I don't think I'm, you know, I micromanage everyone or like I'm the type of in-game leader that controls everything. I very much like to give all the information and make sure that my team knows and feels comfortable with me making my own decisions on the fly. And as a top laner, I think that's really important. Like you need to be able to just press your TP and be like, guys, we're going. This is it. I see it.
We can probably know once we started practicing, and then once we play together. That's why we are practicing to adjust which one is the optimal way to communicate. But I don't feel like there will be many problem, because like in general in League of Legends, it's always really good to core whoever bet this guy, whoever like can win the game in the game situation. If I'm in the situation, I can carry the game in a way I can see the game, then I will do it. It's same for everybody in our team, I think, for now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and my perspective on it is that I think this roster in particular is going to have high excellence at working out communication, not in game, but out of game, to decide what the communication in game will be. There's just like good verbalization of ideas and concepts, an ability to debate difficult and complex topics and make decisions on how the game will be played in a very mature and experienced way, which really lends itself to like, yeah, if there are issues, we're going to talk about them, we're going to solve them, and then we're going to fix them for the next game, which, it's how fast you learn and adapt that I think is really a critical part of having a great roster. So, all right. Next question here. This one's from Acrylic on Twitch. So Bwipo, what does it mean to you to play with a player like Bjergsen?
It's a great question, honestly. It's not unique for me in the idea that it's the second face of the league player that I've played with, Reckless being my first back in Europe. So for me, it's like it's nice. It's nice to play with someone that has gained a lot of respect and experience over the years, and talking to him and just discussing League of Legends metagame right now with him has already been very nice, and I'm looking forward to it. Again, like for me, it's like I look forward to playing with everyone on my team, right? And Bjergsen's not special in the idea that like I'm looking forward to him working with him more. It's like adding on to the pool of things, right? It's like I'm looking forward to working with Bjergsen. I'm looking forward to working with Core. I'm looking forward to working with Santorin. Looking forward to working with everyone. And Hans, of course, I don't want to forget him. And that's the thing, and that's it's all adding up, and I'm really happy with this roster. Like for me at least, I'm super excited because, like you mentioned, it's that maturity, that general, the vibe where we can discuss anything that comes up and we can just talk about it, right? And this is something that I've missed in all of my teams, and Bjergsen was one of the reasons why that culture is something I want to drive, because I really wanted someone that has a lot of experience, and he's even coached, so he even knows how it is to facilitate emotions, because I'm a very emotional player. You see it when I'm doing my things on camera or whatever, but I also have it in scrims, right? I'm practicing. I feel very good. I'm gonna really let people know that I'm feeling very good about our scrims. But at the same time, if I'm feeling very bad, I can get angry, I can get upset, and I really want teammates that understand that emotion is not to make people feel bad, or addressed to attack people. It's really to win. It's there so I can share my frustrations, like, look, this doesn't feel right, or this isn't the right way to play. Whatever the issue is, I really wanted players around me that I felt like I could share that, and they understood. And I think Team Liquid's done a fantastic job of building that roster.
Awesome. So next question is from Brandon on Twitch. Hey, what's up, Brandon? Can we confirm that Core is going to be the support for this split? His announcement never specified he was staying support. So Core is definitely going to be our support player for the roster next year. There may be some delays given some items with his processing for his visa and green card. If that does happen, I think one of the great things about how the format changed last year was they introduced the lock-in tournament. The lock-in tournament doesn't have any effect on the actual regular season standings that happen during the year. So that additional time for processing, is helpful. And also feel really great about Ayla. Like, Ayla crushed it in Academy. Like, the guy is an absolute monster. He's he's I consider the trifecta. You have really good mechanics, you have a really good attitude, and you have a really good work ethic. And when those three things come together, you're most likely going to be a great player. And some of them come and go, but he demonstrated that he's fantastic. So if we do have any kind of delays, I think it will be fantastic for Ayla to get some showtime. And I'm going to hand this off to Joey. Joey, if you're still here, to go through some questions about our new partnership with Coinbase.
I'm going to steal Core's chair.
Okay.
Sure.
I need a microphone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It feels really bad kicking Core out though. Like I mean, he is like
You want to take this?
Yeah, exactly.
Take this one.
Core is. You're not supposed to walk in front of the camera. That's just a production note for myself. Hey, everybody. I don't know how I found my way on here or changed my clothes so quickly, but thanks for coming to the assembly. What I would love to do is take a bit of time now to shift the focus away from athletics and LCS and actually talk about Coinbase a little bit with Victor. And as many of you know, we announced Coinbase as one of our newest partners recently. We had an awesome announcement video that I hope a lot of you got to see. But with that announcement came a lot of community questions, comments, concerns with that excitement. And we think it's important to be able to address some of that head on because it is just as important to all of us as it is to you. So, Victor, I believe you're still hanging out. I know that we were in LCS land for a second, but are you here?
Absolutely, Joey. I'm still here.
Awesome. So what I'm going to prompt you with is I have some questions that aren't direct questions from the community, but are kind of a distillation of community sentiment and things that we saw come up a lot on all of our social channels. So the first thing that I'd love to talk about is just general concerns about crypto's environmental impact and what is Team Liquid's stance on partnering with crypto given the widespread environmental concerns.
Yeah, absolutely, Joey, and thanks for having me, and welcome to the stream, everyone. We really appreciate your support. So I firstly, I want to dive in a little bit on blockchain in general. So I've been a genuine believer in blockchain technology for quite some time now, and wholeheartedly believe that it's going to do a lot of good in this world. In my mind, it redefines what digital ownership means, and it's going to create a more trusting world through the beauty of this code, and we would not have to rely on untrustworthy parties anymore. One example that comes to mind for me, simple stuff like, let's say you buy a car, it has a certain kilometers or reparation history on the track record, but you don't know if you can truly trust it if someone messed with the car itself. That is stuff that in the future, I believe, will be stored on the blockchain, and it cannot be changed. It cannot be messed with. You can buy that car in an automated, trusted world, and there are going to be countless of examples like this that I think make all of our lives a lot better and a lot more trusting. On my end, I don't own a car, but still, I think it's a pretty valid example. Now, just that belief in blockchain in general absolutely does not mean that we believe or I believe in all blockchain projects or all cryptocurrencies. In fact, it's quite the contrary. In my mind, most are not good projects. There's some really poor products. There's some great products, but poorly ran. There's even some scams out there. But regardless of these bad actors, I really believe that blockchain will change the world. And I would also remind everyone, like, these type of issues are not isolated to crypto. They are so akin to young industries in general. And please don't make the mistake of like seeing these challenges with crypto and blockchain and then apply like a more sweeping conclusion of the space in general. And in fact, like in my mind, esports has suffered from very similar problems. And why are we here today? Like, even though esports has had these problems, it's because we believe in esports in a more fundamental level, regardless of whether or not there is a bad actor in the space that we've seen it happen throughout the years. We are here because we believe that we are doing esports the right way, and Team Liquid believes it's the same for blockchain. So with regards to the question, I think there's really a separation here between the technology itself and some versions of that technology. So blockchain technology is not inherently bad for the environment. Just some versions of it are. And with any revolutionary technology, early versions have issues. And these issues are worked out in subsequent revisions of that technology. Right now, we're seeing all sorts of market forces favoring new chains with low environmental impact, and we expect a majority of blockchains to be this way in the future. And Team Liquid believes that we can fully back these blockchains as the future of a digital landscape while also being environmentally conscious. And so that's like our position on that question.
Cool. Well, great news, Victor. I got more questions. A big one that I know that at least I saw a lot on Twitter is just in the simplest form. Is Team Liquid going to mint their own coin or cryptocurrency?
So thus far, we've declined many opportunities to create a liquid coin, and that is not something that we are looking to do. We have no ambition to create a short-term cash grab, use it to fund a company or anything. We don't want quick wins with a liquid token at all. So that's not where our mind's at right now. There probably are some ways to do coins in the sense of creating governance tokens or creating real long-term value. If done the right way, this can be similar to shares in a traditional company. Shareholders or the holders of these coins or tokens can have certain privileges. But on our end, we have not seen anything for Liquid that we feel good about, and this is not something that we believe is right for us today. Now, there may be a time in the future where we take another look at it, but if that were to ever happen, we would only and only ever do something like that on a 10, 20-year vision, a healthy use case, and something that we believe can retain its value because of how it's built. And we're not seeing that right now.
All right, I got one more for you, Victor, and it's a little bit broad, so pardon me. But a lot of people are interested in Team Liquid's stance on NFTs.
Yeah, so NFT is obviously a hot topic right now. It's just one example of what you can do with blockchain. But in this example, we do believe that NFTs are the future of digital items and collectibles, both in gaming and just in the future of our digital lives. I think our human footprint is always gonna, from here on out, like for the most part, has elements like touching on a digital world, and NFTs will play a big role there. There we feel NFTs have suffered from old blockchain technology and a lack of regulation. But with a move to proof of stake in terms of the technology that it uses and better regulation, we think that the challenges that NFTs have faced are bumps in the road of a technology that will be transformative. And so on my end, when I look at like a Counterstrike or a DOTA, I may not understand why someone wanted to pay a certain price for a certain skin, but I do understand that that is something that our generation believes in. They believe in digital scarcity, they believe in digital ownership, and they believe that there's a value associated with those things. I mean, the times that I've tried to explain that to my parents or others that don't quite grasp it are numerous. And I think those use cases actually are good examples of where NFTs will make it even better. The scarcity and ownership in the games that we play, it's not real. Like with a flip of the switch, a publisher can change the amount of items in the game. Publishers come and go. Their policies might change. Different CEOs might be running different companies over time, and your items might get lost. And this ownership, like on the blockchain, it's real. And regulating all of these things on the blockchain is going to create authentic scarcity and ownership, and that is something that we believe in as being one of the many applications of blockchain technology. NFTs as well. We will go about our choices and decisions in an environmentally conscious manner. And only work with products that are in line with this, and that's what, how we look at NFTs.
I think one aspect, there's a lot of aspects to NFTs, but one aspect that is really compelling, that is kind of different and hasn't been explored yet in the general marketplace, is more around badging and kind of signaling that you've been somewhere, you've done something. So for example, if you've been to every League of Legends a playoff event that Team Liquid or Curse has played in, wouldn't that be cool to have something that signified from a digital perspective that had authenticity around it to say, hey, this is my badge and it means something. And that also can be a digital good. And of course, there's a lot of different forms to it, but part of it is about recognition, and which is a deep part of Liquid Plus, about kind of reciprocating a conversation and acknowledging behavior and participation in the Team Liquid community. And I think NFTs are a good way to do that.
Yeah. That's all I can say. I mean, I'm not the one here giving stance on NFT, so I'm just going to say yes and thank you for talking about a lot of the Coinbase stuff that I know so many people like have so many questions about, and I'm sure that it's going to be a continuing and evolving conversation, as we both deepen our relationship with Coinbase and just the blockchain and the space in general. Mm-hmm. I think that it's time to move on to some general questions that we get. I know that people were tossing so many questions in chat for both Core and Bwipo, but if you have any general questions for Steve, for Victor, for Claire, hi Claire, let's go ahead and get those in chat. We're going to continue polling them, and we're going to move on to more of an open form, the open form part of the assembly. And I'd love to hear more from Claire, actually, with our first question, which is from GingyBoy123 on Discord, which is, what is Liquid's main goal in the next few years? Like, is there any new teams or anywhere that you want to focus on? Many thanks.
Hey Joey, hey everyone. I'm still here. Good to be here. Thanks for the question. Listen, why don't I answer it from a kind of business organizational point of view, and for the athletics stuff, let's go back to Steve and Victor, because I won't dare to touch that bit of the that side of the business. I mean, I suppose there's an overarching purpose for Liquid. You know, we're about creating and entertaining a global community of like-minded individuals. Like a community that at its heart loves Team Liquid, with shared values that mirror our own. So that's, you know, things like inclusivity and kindness, mastery, integrity, competition. So all the things we know that our fans share with us, and that's literally why you're all here and listening to us. That's really important to us. But we do need to find ways to commercialize that, because esports is an ecosystem, requires money in, so that money can go to fund the athletics rosters, and that's what drives the space in the first place. So, we have to commercialize as well. That's a big goal. Competition is at our hearts. We want to win. That's definitely a goal. Across our rosters, old and new, and we want to win, but we want to compete well. We want to compete fairly. If we have to lose, we want to lose well too. We want to be global. Brazil is a huge territory for us, and look out for more in 2022. We've got a really big fan base there. It's growing, it's loyal, it's amazing. We think it's a great opportunity. So, definitely keep your eye on Brazil. Further global expansion, esports is global, our audience is global. So we want to be able to talk to our fans in their own language and in their own cultures. Maybe not next year, but, over the next few years, much more global. And we want to grow our fan base, but not in a kind of short-term reach way. We've gone back to basics and really, really looked at the Team Liquid brand. What makes our fans different to other fans? What's unique about Team Liquid? What's our peculiarity? And we want to celebrate that in all things Team Liquid and in the Team Liquid brand. So you'll see lots and lots of new content. We're going big on content next year. And then Liquid Plus will continue to develop that. It allows our fans a much deeper engagement, both with Team Liquid and our players. And it's not just that kind of, temporary touch of the players and Team Liquid that you get with social media posts. It's much deeper engagement, and that's like really, really absolutely key to Team Liquid and how we feel about fandom. Is that enough, Joey? Why don't I throw back to Steve and Victor, and they can talk athletics?
Absolutely.
Steve, you want to take that one?
Oh, yeah. On athletics, I would say, man, I love chess. I've been a chess fan for a long time. Used to play competitively in DC when I was young. big fan of watching chess online. I think it's a great game. And so maybe some chess stuff in the future. And, Riot has been, so we as an organization have really rallied around Riot Game and now Riot Games. And there are some more things coming, and I think they have been great partners for us. And I'm not sure if anybody played like the new turn-based RPG, but damn, is pretty good. And I think I'm a big TFT fan too, and they've got some additional games that have been announced that seem pretty interesting. So we'll definitely be watching those.
I got a follow-up question that's probably related from Dollar on Discord, which is, considering the success of Halo's launch, are you guys looking or considering to expand in Halo Infinite in the future? Maybe after it's more developed.
Yep. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, so we're definitely following Halo very, very closely. We actually, not sure if anyone remembers, but Ninja used to play for us on our Halo team, and the manager that has always been managing our Halo rosters, actually, Corey, still works for Team Liquid in a different capacity. So we have our eyes on Halo, following it very closely, and are very, very intrigued. But no news beyond that right now.
All right. Similar, we see Halo starting to be global, and I think that we see a lot of Team Liquid teams from both NA, EU, Brazil. And we have a question from Wobbly Tear off Reddit, who says, would you say Team Liquid is more of an NA or an EU organization overall, Victor?
Yeah. We do get that question, or we get folks claiming one thing or another thing. I've never quite understood the need to box us in as an organization. Of course, certain rosters operate in certain geographies, and that makes sense. But Team Liquid is a global organization. We are as global as they come. So my roots are Dutch, and Liquid finds its origins here. But even when Team Liquid was founded as a clan on Battle.net, the first members were from the Netherlands, Canada, Sweden, United States, Norway, and that had nothing to do with an entity or company or business strategy. That was just like our way of looking at the world. And so I've never really been much of a believer in artificial borders and the way they might restrict you in who you are or what you want to become. And so, yeah, we are a global organization. We have a headquarter in LA, a headquarter in the Netherlands. We have 45 amazing players and staff in Brazil, which is a really, really important region for us. And we look at esports and ourselves through a global lens. Of course, like physical realities do mean you have to pick up a roster that might be focused on North America or that might be focused on Europe, either because they want to practice together or due to server location. And you'll see that with our league team being in LA, our Counterstrike team being North American focused, Valorant and DOTA being Europe, Rainbow Six being Brazil. But we are very much a global organization.
All right, I got another question for you, Steve, from Quinn78 on Reddit. Hey, Steve, longtime fan. I know it's difficult to make decisions regarding rosters, so where does continuity rank as far as importance for long-term rosters?
Yeah, I think we have developed some pretty amazing relationships with players that have continued with the organization, and even if they aren't playing competitively, they kind of still maintain a relationship with us from a content creator perspective. So I think that is really special, and where it can continue, it usually does. It was great. Just the other day, I was having a call with a player that played League of Legends for us in the past, and he reached out to us and said, you know what, I want to be part of Liquid again. It was kind of where I felt at home, and I'd love to kind of join and be a content creator underneath the organization, and it feels most fitting for me to be with TL. I can't say who it is because we are going to announce who it is. So, but, I think that continuity, whether it happens from a public-facing perspective, I think there's a lot of heart share that continues post if they go to another team. At the same time, we build competitive rosters, and that means that we, as GMs for each respective team, have to make decisions on what are the best group of players that go and play that season. And sometimes that may mean or not mean that a certain player makes it onto the roster. And those are difficult decisions. And sometimes you don't know with full certainty if you're making the right decision. You only know in hindsight, but you have to decide. And you owe it to the other players on that team to make that decision. And that's the philosophy that governs our roster decisions from year to year. But I think something that is continuous is a real heart for the organization, a real appreciation for how we treat players and the environment. There's a lot of respect. And, we can't interview every player that's been through the TL organization, but I would go as far to say the comments would likely be overwhelmingly positive.
The entirety of chat is now just guessing who you're talking about. It's just a full stream of who you could possibly be saying. So
let me just scroll through real quick. Nope. No,
See,
you're all wrong.
You're giving them too much ammo. Now you're helping them. I have another question for you, Steve, from Narwolf, on a somewhat of a similar topic from Discord. How do you plan on developing talent in the future? What do you currently have in place to develop talent?
Yep. So we're real big on this. For the League of Legends roster, I'll talk about that specifically because I think there are a good number of League fans in the chat. Being introduced to Spawn was really amazing. Spawn is an incredible individual who's built an esports team in his local region. He's wore all the hats from GM to coach to manager, and he has a real eye for talent. And I don't think we would have made it to the finals in League back-to-back splits if it wasn't for his ability to bring up players that could have just played in LCS when Santorin was sick and when we needed them, right? And I really think he does an excellent job at developing players. In addition to that, we of course have our analysts and sports psychologists and mental coaches, and we have the Alienware training facility here in NA is getting completely remodeled. I don't know if we've ever shared pictures of it and stuff online, but it's completely gutted. We took over the space next door, and all of this is so that we can have an even better environment for players to scrim and practice out of. So I think for us, we'll definitely be looking towards that. More specifically for the amateur scene, if that's the question. Sorry if I missed that. I'll just tell it how it is. The rules on amateur aren't really great for organizations like Team Liquid to sign amateur players. You can only sign an amateur player for a max of a year. After that, and also any academy player can be signed by another team if they're given an offer for LCS or academy, which means that signing amateur players, you can't develop talent early and then build them into LCS and academy rosters. It's like we could go to any other amateur team and sign players, and those organizations are forced to let those players go if they don't offer them positions within their own organization. So the setup for amateur doesn't compel, I think, most organizations to invest in that way.
Claire, I'm going to come back to you. I have a question from Twitch chat from the Cody Booma. Why Team Liquid? What drew you to the organization?
Hi, Cody Boomer. Well, I guess esports generally because I'm fascinated by audience. So I kind of followed the audience from linear TV to social media. And, for me, the most engaged, natively digital audience in the world is the gaming and esports audience. So, audience is absolutely kind of fascinating and key to me. And YTL, incredibly strong, pure brand, heritage, amazing track record in athletics and winning, innovation at their heart, things like Team Liquid, things like Liquid Plus, not scared to take risks. They're CEOs that share a plan and a vision, they're business minded, but they're also driven by athletics and, an absolute love of the brand and a love of the space. Well respected in the industry, incredible staff, huge engaged audience. What more could you want? Great opportunity, really exciting challenge for me.
I think you're winning a lot of people over in chat. There's a substantial amount of Claire love. Not to gas you up too much.
I'm lonely in London here. I need it.
So you mentioned Liquid Plus, and Brog has a question that he submitted over on Discord. Has Liquid Plus made a noticeable increase for engagement into overall Liquid activities, and especially the lesser ones? So maybe like some esports that don't necessarily get as much love or marquee.
Yeah, I'll take that. So Liquid Plus, the simple answer is absolutely. What we're seeing is that when folks join Liquid Plus, there's a lot of stickiness once they enter their first event or experience. And I think there is an ability to say, oh, wow, I'm being recognized for my participation, like being in the stream today, like typing in chat or joining our Discord and asking questions. I'm earning points. Like the organization is seeing me. I'm being seen. Like this is pretty cool. And we're seeing that folks are predominantly, if you're a fan of one player, you're watching those streams, but we're also seeing that you're now watching other streams. You're now participating in other games that you may not have watched before. And I think that's really special because it's coming into the TL ecosystem, not just because, of CoreJJ, but because of the league team now maybe. And maybe now because of Team Liquid, the brand. And then maybe you're watching our PUBG team while they're playing at Worlds right now, and our Valorant team, and you kind of start getting introduced to these other aspects of Team Liquid that you may not have known even existed previously.
Yeah, I think you see a lot of people, especially in chat, who are going like, oh man, like, I never watched really Fortnite before, but then I was incentivized to, and then I realized I liked it. Which is awesome, not just for our Fortnite streamers or Team Liquid, but just people who can discover new things that they're having fun with, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're just getting started with Liquid Plus. It's still first inning, so it's exciting, and I very much appreciate everyone who has joined the platform and shared in some experiences and purchased some things on our store using points. Like, thank you for making it a success.
Claire, I have another question for you from Reddit, which is a bit of a long one. So give me a second as I try and not stumble over my own words. At the start of the year, Team Liquid signed Aerial Powers as a streamer and diversity ambassador. Since then, more women representation have been signed, which is amazing. But it feels like, at least to me, that diversity that includes more BIPOC representing is in the brand is still lacking. Are there any steps or plans in the coming year to help address this?
Thanks, Joey. And I want to start by acknowledging that question. Thank you for asking it and for holding us to account. As I've said, building an inclusive and welcoming community is such a kind of key part of Team Liquid. It's so important to our values and our purpose and mission, like I said at the beginning. So, yeah, thank you for asking the question. Thank you for acknowledging the work we have done so far to increase female representation. Elixir, Amanda the Jedi, Slissa, AC, Ariel, Tiffay. I know we're only scratching the surface, but we are making headway. And of course, we do have a woman at sea level now, but lots more work to be done there. But BIPOC representation, so for people who don't know, that's Black, Indigenous, people of colour. In the UK, we tend to use expression BAME or Black and minority ethnic. It's a real challenge for esports. Some areas of BIPOC are well represented, Asian, for instance, but Black players particularly are less prolific at professional level, and it's an industry-wide issue, sadly. So, as Liquid, we've got involved in Hispanic Heritage Month and Black History Month, but, I think we agree as an executive team, but those calendar events just literally just aren't enough. It needs to be a more sustained year-round effort. And as part of our DEI strategy, we're actually just about to embark on a really exciting project with the Magic Johnson Foundation. And Magic Johnson, as you might know, is one of our shareholders. We're going to work with the Magic Johnson Foundation to set up a STEM learning centre. So that's bringing cognitive learning skills and esports skills into schools largely populated by young gamers in less advantaged areas. So we'll be launching that project early in 2022. Obviously a continuation of a lot of the great work we've been doing with Alienware, which is around fostering inclusive experiences in gaming more generally. But, yes, you've called us out on it. It's not good enough. It's a fair question. It's an industry-wide issue, but as one of the biggest teams in esports, we need to take responsibility. We need to tackle it and to continue to try and make change. So, Ariel has been an absolutely amazing champion of that. She chairs our DEI BAG committee, which is spearheading that project and other projects. We've got lots to do, but we're on it. But thank you so much for the question.
Yeah, thank you a ton. Thank you for the eloquent answer, Claire. Going back over to Steve and Victor, a question from Nomus King on Twitch. How do Steve and Victor go about splitting the different teams between them?
I think it starts with just genuine personal interest. I'm not sure if Victor, you kind of agree with this too, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, there are certain games that we have a predisposition towards. Some of that's just based on our personality, our Myers-Briggs, so to speak. And we just have a conversation about it. Do you really love this game? Do you love this ecosystem? Is this something that you're passionate about? And we have a conversation about it, and we make a decision together.
Yep. I mean, but it's definitely not based on geography. So, for example, I work a lot with Counterstrike. Steve does a lot with PUBG. And so it could have been done by geography, but we feel like this is honestly much better.
To kind of dovetail off that, Arrogant has a question from Discord. Since Victor and Steve, we know you both handle different teams, what is one player that got away from you that you regret the most? Want to start with Victor?
Oh. Was it one player? All right. Well, I got a list. So
I'm sure they'll appreciate more than one.
Nitro would be one. Matumba Man would be another. I think Huck leaving TG was probably the most painful one that I experienced. Definitely did not want that to happen back then. Pretty sad we couldn't make it work with Simple in North America. Honestly, if you move someone to North America and it just doesn't resonate with them, or they're not feeling good, yeah, sometimes these things happen. So that one was a little unfortunate, and maybe a little less known. Maybe some do know him, but Gen from Street Fighter, that was really unfortunate as well. I think he's a world class talent, and yeah, that would be my list.
What about you, Steve?
Well, you took the wind out of my sails. All the same names. Yeah, but I guess I'll add, and this one will sound really interesting to everybody that people don't know about, actually, which is Bjergsen. And I know that sounds weird because he's playing on our roster.
You just showed the announcement video, yeah.
Yeah. But when Bjergsen was considering which team to come to when he was first coming to NA, we were talking to him. And he was the player that got away, so on the league side. But he's back. He's here now. So.
I never knew that.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've shared that. Yeah. So.
Well, now you can, because everything.
Now I can. So,
yeah. I have a question that is actually fielded for everybody. Maybe you can go ahead and start with you again, Steve. From the sauciest main on Reddit, what would you say is the biggest challenge of running a large esports organization? So a really simple and narrow question.
Yeah, it's not broad at all. I think the toughest thing about running an esports organization, at least today, I think is continuing to find great people. I mean, we do a fantastic job at it. I think the folks here at Team Liquid are some of the most talented in the entire industry worldwide, and that's really special. And as we grow and as we decide to do bigger and better things that are more impactful to the communities that we participate in and solve problems that exist, like the underrepresentation of women in competitive gaming, we need to identify and continue to grow and find more people to join the fam. And, finding those individuals is not an easy task. And so that has been the most challenging, especially given the exponential growth that we've had, and very fortunate for that.
What about you, Victor?
Yeah, so I think from a personal on a personal perspective, I honestly don't really know. I feel very blessed to be where I'm at, but from an organizational perspective, I think sometimes we need to protect us from ourselves a little bit. Our staff is so motivated to just deliver really great things. We need to make sure we don't do too many things, and so that's a pretty big one. And just generally speaking, just maybe this is more like life advice or something, but don't overrate yourself. Don't start believing too much. Challenge yourself. Find new things that motivate you. Keep improving, and yeah, I think that's at the core of what we do here.
What about you, Claire?
Weirdly, I was going to say almost exactly the same thing as Victor. It's such a fast-moving industry. There's so many things we could do. There's so many places we could be. It's just trying to prioritize and not the organization's like a balloon. If you keep pumping it up, it'll burst when you want to do so many things, and we want to do so many things. And as Victor says, people want to take on so much because they love the organization, and that's amazing. But it's prioritizing in a really, really fast moving industry. It's kind of prioritizing what we want to do.
Great.
I was saying, deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. Very much.
For sure. It is so fast growing. There are so many other teams, and I think that we see more and more teams, enter the space every day. And more teams get funding, more teams to compete with. And Hero of Time on Discord wants to know, what other esports orgs do you see as Liquid's biggest rivals or competition?
Is that directed at anyone in particular, Joey?
You now, Victor, since you spoke first. Do you want to start?
Okay. Biggest rivals. I mean, rivals. I do think a lot of them are created per sport, per game. One big one for myself, obviously, is Evil Geniuses. The rivalry that we had in StarCraft was, it was intense, and I actually look back on it with a lot of joy. Maybe the one with Astralis, not a bad result today. So in Counterstrike, that would be, and those are some that come to mind for me. Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, for me, I think rivalry kind of exists by game. It can also apply to business and content and fandomship. I think that what has been really great to see is that they're not just dollars coming into the ecosystem now. There's great management and organizations with the right purpose to be in the space and contribute to the communities that exist here. And I think there are some teams out there that are doing a fantastic job of doing that. And it's not just the teams here in the West, it's also the East. And I think there's some there's some great things happening within the space, which is good.
I have one final question as we round out this space that I think is on a lot of people's minds, which is from James on Twitch. Does Team Liquid have any plans for in-person events or meetups in the post-pandemic future, Steve?
Absolutely. Yes. We will definitely be doing some in-person events. I mean, let's just take, actually, yesterday, we had an in-person event at UCLA to watch our Valorant match. And I think it started at like 5 a.m. local time here. And I believe we had about 500 folks show up, and
about 50 in the room. Like a lot of the UCLA student body in their club came out to go see. Ariel Powers was there on stage, and other people like start the watch party. So not just online, but also in person.
Oh yeah, which is amazing. And we're going to definitely do more as we can in a safe way for our fans and staff.
Cool. Well, we have a little bit more of the assembly to happen. I want to give any or all of you the opportunity to say thank you or bye or whatever you would like to as we start to sign off here from the Q&A section. I know that this was the first one, but hopefully not the last one. So if there's anything that y'all liked or enjoyed about this, please, tell us on social media, find us in Discord, use the Liquid Plus experience. Let us know what you thought about this, because I think that we had a good time.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I'll start with one of the reasons why we thought a town hall would be really cool is that a lot of other teams, and even ourselves to some degree, we're not entering into as much of a conversation with our fans. And, that kind of concept of just like posting information on social media accounts and just letting people digest it. And this is an opportunity to hear questions, answer them, like hotline league style. Maybe we'll have callers, call in the future and ask questions live. And I think that builds relationships, and that's really important. So that was really the idea for having this event. That being said, maybe there's some stuff that we could definitely improve on, and if you hate it, maybe we won't do it. So we're definitely listening to the feedback from everybody that participated today. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for attending and participating. So great to have you here. So thank you.
Great, yeah. Thanks to all the fans. Thank you for all of the support. I think it's been incredible for a first edition. I also want to give a major shout out to the staff that put all of this together. This was an awesome event.
Thanks so much. Good night from London. It's been amazing to join in with my inaugural audience Team Liquid event. So thanks so much for all the support. Thanks for all the nice comments. I'll read them all and look forward to doing more of these. See you soon.